It's time to hear from the general manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong, on your exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Time to catch up with one of our favorites, Bill Armstrong, general manager of the Utah Mammoth. Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man.
Well, that was a tough one last night.
We were doing great on this 9-game non-loss streak.
On the heater, yeah.
The 9-game non-loss streak was as good as anything we've seen in the 2 years that Utah Hockey Club / Utah Mammoth have been here. That had to have been a fun ride.
It was a fun ride, and I'm a better human when we win. So the flowers are out. The mountains look great. The blue sky's a little bit bluer.
Food tastes a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all that. And it also, it's good to see your coaches and your players and the organization have that success that that's capable of, and it's we've had a little bit early on when we had the streak coming out, getting off to a real good start, and then obviously we had a hell of a home sit stand, and it's great for the group. Now we're in the trenches right now. We're battling right now. We're 500 on the road. We beat Nashville, and then when we lost a close one to Tampa, probably the best team that we've played in the National Hockey League, and it was a punch in the face competition. And I think there's some confidence to gain from that game. I think for us, it's you play at that pace against a team at that caliber, and you're hanging and you're giving it to them a little bit. It sends a good wave of confidence to your group.
Hey, Bill, I know he's not on your roster, but I am curious just because watching him is kind of poetry. Tell me what makes Andrei Vasilevsky so good.
Well, last night he put on a show. He knew where it was going before I think the guy that released it off his stick did. He was on top of his game. He's so big, he's so athletic, and he has a natural feel for the game. He doesn't give you much. He doesn't leave too many rebounds out there. He's pretty good, and I think there's different ways to play him. I think if we play him in a 7-game series, we'll figure him out. I think he got the best of us last night, but I do think there's room for us to improve, and hopefully we see those guys in the playoffs. But he is a dynamic goaltender, and he's a Vezina candidate this year, and he'd have a good chance to win it. So he's one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League.
So good.
I don't want to get on your bad side by asking this question, but because I know you're not like moral victory kind of guy, but you did allude to, like, you guys fought like crazy and you give up a couple of power play goals. Like, not every loss is created equal. The way you came out of that game, you still had to feel really good about your squad.
Well, you do, because just the pace, the speed of that game going back and forth against a well-coached team with Tampa Bay and some players that have won championships there before. It was just a battle back and forth, and we did a lot of good things. Keller had a nice breakaway at the end, couldn't bury it. We had some opportunities on the power play, couldn't bury it. And we were right there. But it's also knocks us down a notch and gets us back focused on improving and getting better and knowing, hey, we're not the top dogs, but there's another ladder to climb. There's a higher level we need to get to when you play the big boys, and we're not there yet. But we've come a long way in 2 years, and we continue to strive to get better every single day. And that's the great thing about our team is when you look at us at the start of the year to where we are now, we continually improve. And we got a chance to get Logan Cooley, I think, back in our lineup for 5 games from now. So that'll be a big boost for our team too.
Okay, so I don't mind the NHL forcing me on a road trip down to Florida and Carolina. What I don't like is that the commissioner would say, I think we'll put Tampa and then Florida on the back end of a back-to-back. We'll have them go right over to the Panthers. And I got to tell you, Bill, when I'm not a huge fan of the Mammoth, I am a huge fan of the Panthers. They were my introduction into championship hockey with Sam Reinert and Marchand and Verhaeghe and the crew, Kachuk, everybody that makes that team so incredible. Kind of walk me through just how this ends up on a back end of a back-to-back, and what type of approach do you take tonight?
Well, you got to survive the first 20 minutes of the game, and you got to get your legs underneath you and get your game. And what they do is they just continuously dump the puck and pound you with their physicality. They got 4 lines. They're back healthy, which is awesome. I think the only guy they're missing is Barkov. And they're ready to rock and roll tonight. And they're looking forward to pounding us. There'll be no love lost tonight. It's going to be a battle. They got the Sam Bennett's of the world, the Reinhardts, like you said, and those guys are not only skilled, not only good players, but they're physical and they're competitive. This is going to be a battle. They know we've played the night before in Tampa. They're going to look to give it to us early. We got to make sure we hang in there, make sure we find our sea legs, survive the first 20.
Well, and Tkachuk finds his way back on the ice just before, 4 or 5 games before you get here. Has on film and his efforts just through the beginning parts of 2026, how does he look?
He looks good. I mean, he's preparing himself for the Olympics and another championship run in the Stanley Cup. So, he's somebody that he's their fuel. He kind of gets them going. He's not only skilled, he's probably one of the best players in the National Hockey League in the offensive zone below the goal line. He's a beast. And he's kind of like, aggravating. He's kind of like when your older brother wrestles with you and he just kind of gives you little punches. Like, he doesn't hurt you. Not enough to call dad from around the corner or leave a scar or a black eye, but just enough to aggravate you so you take a swing and then the next thing you know, you're in the box. And he's really good at it. He's the Michael Jordan of aggravating. How's that?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly said.
Yeah.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
So when you play a team like this and they know you want to play, they know they want to rough you up. Is this almost like a litmus test? You're like, all right, guys, let's see how you handle this. I got to imagine the former player in you are like, okay, this is what you got, a back end of a back-to-back, the most physical team in the NHL. Let's see how you guys handle this.
This is it. This is a great test for our group. You're coming off playing an elite team last night that hasn't lost in a while. They had a goaltender that won last night was 12 in a row for them. So now we're going into a team that's starting to get hot, starting to get better, starting to get their legs underneath them. And they got 4 lines coming at you, and they're physical, and there's going to be a packed house there tonight. And so it's going to be a great opportunity for us to test our toughness. And like I always said, it's not what you can give, it's what you can take. We're going to have to take a little bit in the first 20 minutes to get our legs underneath us and just kind of, we got Vanny going in net. So Veggie's resting tonight. So it'll be a battle. He's got to have a big game for us. And we got to find our sea legs. And, after the first 20, we'll be fine.
Any chance bad mood Bob takes a night off and you see Tarasov? And when do you get the report on who's in net?
Well, it turns out that we're a pretty good team these days. And they don't really we don't get anybody's backup anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but yeah, they don't come in and have a rookie party in your town and a big dinner and a few extra wines and throw the backup your way. They've caught on to us. So we usually get the big boys, unfortunately, it's certainly that way these days that, Tampa, they were ready for us and Florida will be well prepared tonight for us too, and we will get the big guy. Bob will be in net.
I love it.
So you probably, when you see the second stringer go in and some other guys not on the ice, you're like, wait a minute, they don't think we're very good right now.
That's usually the way I took it, anyways. But
whether they meant it or not.
Nowadays we're not sneaking up on anybody, gentlemen. They're ready for us.
So going back to that homestand, and you have another big homestand coming up here. You get 13 out of 14 points. Obviously, that's critical to the success of your team. But you've also set the bar. That's kind of what people going to the Delta Center are now expecting. How do you replicate what you did on that past, homestand to this upcoming one? Because you got some big games that are going to really affect the standings.
Yeah. But that's a great thing. I think last year we came in to Utah and Salt Lake and said, hey, we want to play meaningful games. We want to be in the hunt. I think it's kind of changed this year where, hey, we want to play meaningful games, but we want to win those games. And that pressure that we've had since game one is building now, and we're we've improved and we're in the hunt. So it's even better. There's no pressure, there's no diamonds, boys. that's the way it is. So you got to go through a little bit of pressure and expectations of what your team's capable. I think that's a good thing. And so when we show up to rinks, people know they're in for a battle when they play us. We're a good NHL team, and we got a chance to get in. So those are the expectations that people arrive with at the Delta Center. That's a good thing. They expect to see a good Mammoth team that's going to come out and beat anybody in the NHL on any given night.
I got to tell you, Bill, I think Sean Durzi is my spirit animal.
Oh, yes.
I think he's my spirit animal. And I played football the way he plays hockey. And
yeah.
So there's a video that went out on Sean, and it just shows his pure intensity. And it made me curious.
Mm-hmm.
I threw this question in to ask you, when you are standing or sitting in the penalty box, how much can you hear maybe the guy that you just threw fists with, or the guy that just high sticked, or whatever it is? How much can you hear, and how much do you jaw jack back and forth?
Well, you if you're a competitor, there's always going to be a couple words once in a while exchanged in between those boxes, and you can kind of get the gist of what they're saying, and they can understand you pretty good. More of your facial expressions, you pointing and that kind of stuff of what's going to happen next. So, no, it's, listen, the one thing about, players are always imperfect. They have good games, they have bad games and this and that. But the one thing that about Sean Durzi that's true, he's going to fight every night. He got fight in him. And that's why we love him, and that's why he drives our team, is that no matter what, whether it's going good or bad for you, he's showing up to go to war every single night.
Is that just what they build in Mississauga? Tell me a little bit about that, about that area.
Mississauga, yeah, not an easy one. That's just who he is inside. He's been like that since he's been a little kid, so. Whenever I saw him play when growing up, he always had a lot of fight in him. He'd lay down and block shots, do whatever it takes to win. And, he's always an incredible teammate. So we were fortunate to acquire him in a trade, and we've been blessed to have him. He's given us some fight and will tonight again.
I know that, you're cognizant of how many minutes guys are spending in the penalty box, and they may not come at the most opportune times. But I'm telling you, for a community that's learning hockey and learning to appreciate, that stuff resonates so well here in Utah with the blue collar fan base. It's like, hell yeah, go get it, go get it. Like I hope these guys know. Like obviously they're prideful in themselves and their team, but they're representing a community. And when fans see guys fight like that and they're wearing a Utah jersey, that means a lot. That means a lot to this group.
Yeah, and that's one thing we kind of learned when we came into Utah on that. I think it was almost like, okay, there's Salt Lake City, there's the surrounding community, but it was almost like the state of Utah took us in and embraced us. And it's such a simple jersey, but when you see the Utah across it, it's a special thing, and I think that's, I don't know, we've always had that fight in us. I think there's a pride in us about how much people appreciate us, but we also appreciate them back. And I think you see that in our team and how hard we play.
Bill, you're the best. We appreciate it as always. Have a good one, and we'll chat again next week.
Go get him tonight, Bill.
Yeah, you got it, boys. We'll kick some butt for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There he is. Bill Armstrong.